Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah Sodri wa Yasili Amri. Muhammadan Misani Sofoli. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. While waiting for the others, can you all hear me well?
Yeah,
Yes,
very clear.
Okay, very clear. Okay, thank you. So it's already recording and stream on YouTube. We have several participants on the way, maybe. So while waiting, already 1 p.m. So I'm going to start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Rininta Nurrachmi. I'm part of R&M Consulting. This is a research institute on Islamic finance, econometric, and Islamic economy. So far, we have conducted a webinar online class and research related to halal industry, environment, Islamic finance, economic, and everything related to the economic finance and management. And today, I'm going to convey on a workshop on EVIEW on analyzing Islamic Stock Index using ARCH and GARCH model using EVIEWS 10. So I have sent data for our exercise today by email. If you haven't received it in your inbox, please check on your spam. And so far, you already have it. So while I'm presenting, so we begin with presenting a slide, and then I'm going to turn off the camera. And after that, we're going to conduct the workshop by using the data that I have given to you. This is on Maybank on equity stock that I got from the Yahoo Finance. It is a weekly data. So we can start by showing up the PowerPoint. I'm going to turn off the camera first. Okay, wait, stop sharing. So can you see the slide? Okay. Today is Saturday, 21st August, analyzing Islamic Stock Index using ARCH-GARCH Method with EVIEWS 10. So our email is rnmcons@gmail.com. So we're going to start with introduction, definition, analysis of stock index volatility, steps for testing ARCH and GARCH model. So for introduction, maybe some of you already invest in stock market. Either is it conventional or Islamic stock market. So as investors, we're not only thinking about profit or return of the stock, but also the risk, right? So the risk is like any kind of damage that happens to us while we're doing investing. So we not only gain profit, but also gain loss. So volatilities like changes that give investors a measurement of how much that we get from the stock. Is it the return or the risk, high or low? So it also informed that what kind of volatility happens when we invest in a product. So we heard a lot about ARCH and GARCH, maybe from papers or maybe from others speaking about it. So it is an autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity ARCH introduced by Engel in 1982. So it's quite long. So it is discussed on a model on a variance. So when you talk about ARCH and GARCH, this is time series because stock market usually time series, right? Is it daily, weekly, monthly, or maybe yearly? So usually it is a model to analyze volatility in time series in order to forecast the future volatility, because as investors, we want to know what will happen to our stock in the future, whether is it gaining profit or loss. So in the financial world, so we are modeling ARCH to estimate by providing a model of volatility. So we see the variance it happens in the time series to predict the volatility or the movement of the stock market. So the characters of ARC model, so it contains a heteroscedasticity, or meaning that related to variance, unconditional, on, a lag, effect, or autocorrelation. So heteroscedasticity is like something that is out of our way. So this is showing that the data is outward, so it's going beyond the linear form. So if it's on the ARC model, it is accepted, but if it's on linear model, it's not accepted, because ARC model, we discussed about the volatility, which is uncertainty. So maybe it can go up and it can go down. So it extends of volatility as a function of error. So we sometimes receive a shock or a news for financial analysis. So it is something that unexpected. So the larger the shock, the greater the volatility. So can be like this kind of shock, or maybe just a small shock. So data set is not stationary, meaning that it is not stable. So it can change up and down, but it is stationary at first difference. So why using ARC models? Because we can predict, or as investors, we can see what come on us for the risk that we're going to take, because risk is like uncertainty. We don't know what will happen, whether in the 1 year coming, or 2 years coming, or maybe 5 years coming. So we can predict it by the ARC model. So it is related to forecasting and measuring volatilities. Multi techniques that related to the ARC is we have ARC-M, GARCH, GARCH-M, ARCH-GARCH, and EGARCH. So it is concerned on financial and macroeconomic time series. So it is should be a time series. So it cannot be a cross-section or panel data. So the duration can be daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. So high frequency data is better. So if you have a daily data like 10 years, it's better than monthly data for 10 years, because daily data will have more sample size, right? So it is better to have a daily one if you can obtain the data. So the more data that you have, the more high frequency the data, the better we can do the analysis. So most of the financial economic series, stock prices, oil prices, anything related to prices, or micro, we can change exchange rate, unemployment rate, as long you have available data for the daily data, weekly and monthly. And we heard also about the GARCH. GARCH is like the part of ARC. It is extension of the ARC model. So it is a generalized autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity developed in Boleslav in 1986. So the difference is because it is extension from the ARC model, so we can apply it for financial data also. But the difference is because it is extended, so there are things that typically we can predict using the GARCH model, because it is more to generalize and more to perfect it, what the drawback happened in the ARC model. So the system is almost the same. It's also for volatility for stock, bond, and market indices, because this is extended for GARCH model. So they have another variables or another component added in the model. So we can see the difference for the ARC. It is on the conditional variance specified as linear. This is the ARC model. So this is the beta. We usually see it as a constant. If we see it in the EVIEWS, this is like a beta 1, sorry. This is like the dependent variable. So this is the variance. This is the variance depend on lag square. However, if the GARCH is extended for the ARC model, it allows a lag conditional variance. So the models are almost the same. So although this is the symbol is different, this is beta 0, beta 1, it's the same with this one. The meaning is the same, but they have a error. This is like a residual for the lag. Conditional variance. And this is for the theta. Theta is for the extended ARC model. So the difference is we add the residual lag and the theta. So is this like a perfected of the ARC model? Why choose ARC and GARC? So it is relatively easy to set up and calibrate because it relies on the past observation. Why is it past? Because there's a lag on it, like HT minus 1. So the variance is related to the past observation. So the ARC model provides a way for models to change invariance in time so that the series is dependent, such as increasing or decreasing for the ARC model. However, if we add like ARCH-GARCH model, it overcomes the time series. So the model is rely on the past also, not only for the current one. So we can predict by analyzing what happened in the past and current to predict the futures. So it is better to have more information, right? Also, if you see that you heard about the ARC and GARC, usually they will put this like GARC11. So generally accepted notation for GARC model is to specify the GARC function with P and Q. This is like also alpha and beta. For example, if you have the GARC11, this is the first order. So if the sixth order, they will like put GARC 6. Or fifth order is like GARC 5. So on. So P is the lag of variance included in GARC model. P is for the variance, this for the variance, and Q is for the lag residuals. So this is a combination. As I mentioned before, GARC is extension for the ARC model. So a GARC model includes ARC model, where if you see that there's a GARC 0Q or GARC only include lag residual errors, it is equivalent to ARC-Q. So if it's GARC 0Q equals to ARC-Q. Okay, this is the condition for a volatility, the weekly time series plot of Maybank equity. I already shared you the data for 2000 until 2021. So what is volatility? If you heard about this before, it's conditional of changing rapidly. So this is like the data total is observation 1095. So this is the volatility. The movement is changing rapidly every time. So what is volatility clustering? So when there is a change of large changes, it follows by further large changes. And when there's small changes, it follows with the small changes. Like it's also, this is volatility clustering. So if there's a changes in a large changes period, or followed by a large changes period. If there's a small, follow with the small period. Okay, we see that this is the volatility, the changes of the return of equity price for weekly time series. This is the histogram. Histogram is to see the condition of the data. We see that the highest maximum of return stock is 0.16. This is the highest maximum. And the minimum is minus 0.23. So we cannot see below this one. And the standard deviation is also the same like volatility. The standard deviation is how much they make the changes. This is the standard deviation. So far we see that it is on a 0.027. So this is like the standard deviation. This is like the distribution of this thing. This is the standard deviation. This skewness is the shape of the tail. So this is the probability. Okay, so we already observed that from this one, the Maybank equity price 2000 to 2021 is quite volatile. For this one, from our graphic condition, this is still like the intro for our condition. We're not sure whether what will happen on the ARC and GARC model. We have to test it first. And overall, GARC 1 and 1 is recommended because it is modeling volatility of stock return. As also it is easier to apply, and it is recommended because it integrated GARC to use a better explanation for volatility process of stock return. Although this is the first level, so it is better to predict. Here are the steps to testing for ARC and GARC 1.1. First, we have to check the stock price's performance. Usually, if it's from the past to the futures, from the past to the current days, usually the stock will increase as maybe the price also increase, inflation also increase. Normally, right? After that, we check for the unit root. Usually, they have a unit root, not stationary. And also the change, we have to change the stock price into return stock price to know the volatility performance, the changes. And after that, we make a descriptive statistic, just like this one. This is a descriptive statistic to know the condition of our graph of volatility. And also, we check the unit root of stock prices because already first differences, if we change to the return stock, usually is already stationary, already stable. After that, we perform ACF and PCF, or partial correlation, to test for serial correlation. So the good ARC or GARC model, there's no correlation, because correlation is there's a relation between the residual, so it will cause disturbing to the data. So we also the 8th part, we have to specify the AR, autoregressive models, and we get this from equation, and then we estimate the mean equation by OLS and make sure that it is significant. So if it's not significant, mostly the p-values is lower than critical value. So I will explain this later. If it's not significant, you have to change your data, meaning that the data is not reliable. You have to check maybe other stock that has a better good result. If you're doing a research and perform language multiplier LM test, this is to check the hetero. So hetero should be in ARC and GARC model because you have to measure the volatility, and then we test for ARC and GARC, and we do forecasting. Okay, I'm using the weekly equity price data from Maybank, and this is the formula to calculate the return. Log price stock divided by P, this is the lag. So you cannot directly use your price index and do analysis for the models of ARC and GARC. You have to change it to return first, then you can make a calculation for the ARC and GARC model. And this is the hypothesis that I'm going to show you. So if there is a stationary, usually the p-values is lower than critical value. Critical value is given like this one. Oh, sorry, this is a 0.05. 1%, 5%, 10%. So you don't have to see the tables to make sure that what is the critical value. So this is already given. So it is easy for you. If you have a p-value or probability values of 0.007, should be like what? Lower than critical value, right? So this one is significant, showing that the variables is stationary. So we have to reject H2O. So make sure you understand this kind of hypothesis, because if you're still confused, it will be hard for you to analyze the results. So as long as you see the p-value first, just ignore the coefficient. You see the p-values, and then you have a 1%, 5%, and 10%. You can predict well. So this one is significance on 1%, 0.1. So next we go to serial correlation, hypothesis correlogram. So if the variables does not contain serial correlation, the p-values is bigger than the critical values. This is a good model. And if the alternative contain serial correlation, the p-values is less. So you have to make sure that the alternative always have p-value less than critical values. For the null, p-values higher than critical values. That's given, or the foundation for the econometric. So you don't have to memorize it, you just understand it. And for the heteroscedasticity, LM test, you have to have this one. So mostly if you want to have the arc or go on to your regression, at least your p-values have to be less than critical values. So you have to contain heteroscedasticity. So if it's bigger than your critical values, meaning that your data is not very good, so you cannot proceed with the ARC model. Okay, this is also like 0.0. Sorry, typo. Okay. This is a rough review. So I'm going to explain later on our process for EVIEWS. If you have a GARCH, so I'm using the GARCH. Usually they only write like this 1, 1. So you don't have to put ARC. They already know that this is a GARCH 1, 1. So this is the variance. This is the lag conditional variance. So allow process of lag conditional variance to enter well. So you have these models. So if the values of this is like also like alpha and beta approaching to 1 or more, the frequency of stock is volatile. So we have a Maybank. So the constant is this beta 0. This is the ARC, the beta 1. This is the Q1. So we just add this one and this one. Result is 0.95, showing that this data is a frequency for volatility is high, it is approaching to 1 or more. But mostly, usually is approaching to 0.99 or 0.97. Mostly the data is like this. So you have to check the result first. I know it's a bit still like blur for you or confusing because you didn't see the regression yet. So we will show it later. So let's move on to the ARC and GARCH model. This is just a review how I get the data. So you don't have to, maybe some of you rely on the Bloomberg or data stream, but it's not accessed easily. So if you're not in the campus or maybe you're not in the office, you can access to Yahoo Finance. Just Google what kind of stock is available for open sources. Not all stock are available, so you have to check what kind of sources. Usually, I have ideas on Maybank, CIMB, or maybe you have to do a company stock index. You can check it, whether they have it or not. So they have like this one, and then you click on the historical data. So if you have time, so I will show you the process on the website. This is open sources. And after you got the historical data, you can change on the time period, whether it is like this 1 year period or 10 years or 5 years. Available on the data and historical prices. They already given like the stock prices, and they have option for the daily, weekly, or monthly or yearly. So after you make the changes, you do apply, click for this one, and download. It is provided on CSF, so you can use it and do analysis on the ARC and GARCH model. So it's free open source data, but not all stock equities, not stock prices available. So you have to check it whether is it available on Yahoo Finance. Okay, so next we're going to do the so you have any questions, you can ask directly. So we're going to see the data. I already sent you the data in Excel format.
Doctor, can I ask a question?
Yes.
The sources from the Yahoo Finance, is it as same reliable as the data from the Bloomberg?
If I look from research paper, there's some of research paper they're using Yahoo Finance, so I assume it's reliable because some of the research paper they use it from Yahoo Finance. Yeah. But if you want to do a cross check, maybe you can cross check data on the open sources on Yahoo Finance and the Bloomberg if you have the access for the Bloomberg. If you want to check whether it's reliable or not, maybe you want to like submit your paper for Scopus so you can check the reliability. Because I see that some of the research paper they use it the data from the Yahoo Finance, so I think it's reliable.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay, you see the Excel, so I already given to you the data. So we're using adjusted close stock prices for the Maybank. And why are you using this? Because adjusted close prices, usually they're already like adjusting with output and input from the company. So this one is more fixed. It's not, I mean, it's different from the close prices, right? So we can use this because this is already confirmed from the companies. So we can use this for our data analysis because already adjusted. So the start point is, this is the weekly data from 21st August 2000 until 16 August 2021. And the number per sample size is 1096. So the higher the number of the samples is the better. So you can predict the volatility. So we're going to cut and paste this one. I already shared you the link for the EVIEWS stand, so you can get an easy access and download the free software. Okay. Uh-oh. And then we go to the issues. And create a new work file and go to weekly, and our date is 21st August until 16 August. Oh no. Okay. Okay, so our observation is the same. Go to quick and empty group, and we go straight to the corner and just Control V and we paste it from what we copy from the Excel. That's the fastest way. You can change it into Maybank. Okay. Easy as that. This is still stock prices. It's not returned. And don't forget to save it. And also advice, since we are in majority Muslim countries for Southeast Asia, usually we have a public holidays like Rayas and Idul Fitri, Idul Adha. If you're using daily data, be careful on the software because mostly the daily data they have like five days per week or 7 days per week. If we rely on the reality for stock prices, usually they have like one, there's 3 days for 1 week, or maybe you have to adjust it with the software and your data. So that's the challenge in the daily data. So it's better for you to maybe using a weekly or monthly if you have access to more data. But if you choose to use daily data, it's okay for you, but you have to work extra on adjusting the data with the software process. And also, if you try to see a comparison between countries, like maybe United States, Malaysian, it's better for you to use weekly data because it's easier. You don't have to adjust the day because we have a different day, holidays, the stock prices, and also the market prices. And either using weekly, monthly, if you can access. So it's better for you to use like around 1,000 observation because you can measure the volatilities. So before we change to the return, so I'm going to show you how the stock performance for this one. So first we go to view and graph. So as mentioned before, this is the weekly data. So it is on start from 2000 until 2021. So this basic graph and then click OK. I'm going to show you the performance from Maybank in Malaysia. So it keep increasing right from 2000 to 2021. Why is it? Because the stock prices, as we see that prices every month is increased. If there's an inflation, so the stock prices also will adjust with the current prices. So we see that every year it increased. So also there's a decline on this one. So we see that this is a prediction for it's a crisis in here, right? Yes, this is like crisis in the US. So every stock, either is conventional or Islamic, have the impact the mortgage price crisis, right, in the United States, 2008, 2009. So after that, it increased again, up, and here, this one, there's a peak and then a decrease. And still, the trend is increasing from 2000 until 2021. Just to show you how the performance is. And the drawing. And after that, we check for the unit root. As we know, time series, they have a unit root, or the data is not stationary. So we check for the unit root. Usually they have a, okay, see, we see this one, probability, the p value is higher than critical values, right? Either it's 1%, 5%, or 10%. So showing that the data is not stationary. So we do not reject. So it contains unit root. This is still a stock prices. We haven't changed it to a return. And after that, this is just for our information. So if it contains unit root, so it's not stationary. So we can measure this for the ARCH and GARCH model. And we clear out. Then we go to change in the return. Okay, so the return, go to generate R Maybank equal to log Maybank minus Maybank log Maybank. Okay, if we see from our formulas, the return is look like this, right? So if we change into a linear form, this is still not linear, right? So this is a linear form. So we're going to be like this. Okay, drawing. Okay, just click OK. This is we got for the return. So you can check the volatility from this one. So this data we can apply for the ARC and GARC models. So we can check for volatility by seeing on the graph. Takes time. Okay, just click OK. This is how we get the volatility return. See, the same as I showed before to you in the PowerPoint. The Maybank, we have a volatility clustering in here. So as we see that the crisis in 2008 and 2009, the mortgage crisis or global financial crisis is also impacting the Islamic stock prices. As we know that Maybank is not only provide Islamic product but also conventional. So we can see that there's a big or large changes in here, and then a large changes in here at the beginning of 2000, and a small changes in here. Okay, we can see that volatility. So this is like information for the investors, so they can see the past, how's the condition. And from here, we can go on to check our unit root. We just already changed to return. Just go to view, and then unit root. And you can check on the levels. See, already stationary. Because already changed the level, so it is stationary. So p values less than critical value. So it's stationary in level. So it is already stable. Okay. And go to clear gap. And next we go to, I can repeat on the descriptive statistics. Okay, from this one, histogram and stats. This is the condition. So I will repeat this one as said in PowerPoint. So our observation is 1095. So our mean or average is around this one. The median, maximum, minimum, the maximum return is 0.16. The minimum return is minus 0.23. So we can predict that from the duration of 2000 until 2021, the maximum return is around 0.16. This is in number. And the lowest one is minus. We can check, they didn't show it which year, but we can check directly in the data if you want to make sure. And the standard deviation or the normal distribution, like this one, the spread on this one is around 0.07. This is the standard deviation. The skewness is like this one, tail, and kurtosis. This is how we analyze on the descriptive statistics. So after this, we clear it down. And we go to, we already check volatility, the statistics, and then we check for unit root, and we go to the cologram for, okay, this is already given. Just click OK. Level, like to include 36. And we have this. As I see before, our rule of thumb is we want this result to be no correlation. So no correlation is p-values bigger than critical values. No serial correlation. See, this is a no serial correlation. And if the p-values less than critical values, there is serial correlation. So we see that although this is only like 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, this is all higher, right? So there's no serial correlation. So this is good to go. The models can be applied for ARC and GARCH. So we can proceed. And then we go to mm, the analysis of the ARC and GARC. We go to estimate this one into RS first, go to tweak and then estimate equation, pick Maybank or variables, and then constant R Maybank. So why do I put like on this one? Because this is to show you the residuals. So we can use this to check the OLS first, and we can check this for heteroscedasticity. For this one, just ignore the result because it's OLS, and go to view, and then go to residual diagnostic and go to heteroscedasticity test. Check or click ARC, leave this one, number of lags, and then OK. And we have this one. So what is our rule? Our rules is if there's a hetero, so if p values is bigger than typical values, there's a no hetero. P values less than typical values, we have hetero. So our result will be there is hetero, right? So we can proceed with the ARC and GARC. So this is good to go also. We have to check this one. And then any questions so far? So everything is good? Okay. And we go to estimate again. So we check for the ARC. Let's check for the ARC and GARC. So if you want to check for the ARC first, it's okay. Or the GARC first is okay. So I want to check for the ARC first because ARC is on the variance. So we check on ARC first on the ARC one. Let me remove this one first. This one. Okay, this is just for the opening. So this is the mean equation. Although it's not mentioned, this is the mean equation. It has to be significant. So you have to pick the probability p-value less than typical value. So showing that the return of Maybank effect on the equation. And there's a constant for this one. And for the variance equation, you see that the residual, this is the ARC. It is significant also. So the impact of the variance really change on the movement for the stock price return. So if we elaborate this one, so our model is like this one, HT. This is for the ARC process. ARC model. HT equal to beta 0, beta 1. And we have like H, T. Okay, let me check first. Okay, correct. HT minus 1. So if we elaborate on this one, so we focus on the equation for this one, variance equation, because we want to see the ARC model. So the beta 1 is the constant, right? This is the beta 0. Beta 0 is the constant. Beta 0. So the HT is 0.000462 plus the residual for the ARC is 0.502. So make sure the numbers is positive because there is a movement if there's a positive number. So if you have a negative, make sure that is it correct or not? Whether you have a hetero or not. So you have to check again what you have done previously. So make sure this is positive. So we see that the analysis is there's a changes for the variance, which meaning that there's an increase for this one effect on the return of the Maybank. This is for the ARC model because ARC is on the variance. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Okay. And then we go to clear. And next, we already do the ARC, so let's do the GARC. In the process for the regression is quite simple and easy. And we go to ARC and GARC. Okay. This one, you see that okay, this is the ARC, this is the GARC. Okay, let me change this first to Excel to make it easy, okay? Clear drawing. Okay, let's cut and paste, Ctrl A, and then go to Excel. And go to another sheet. Okay. Because you have this kind of number, just put this. Okay, to make it clear. Okay, you can see the Excels. Okay. For this one, so for the GARC model, we have the HT, beta 0, beta 1, residuals, the first one, beta, and then oh yeah, correct. Yes. Okay, you can see the Excel. Because GARC is related to the lack of conditional variance. So there's an additional component in this one. Here we have this one, residual form. So we see this. This is the beta 0. So it is 0.0000467, and this is the ARC beta 1, and this is the Q1, and we have like 0.210857 for U square T minus 1, and then plus 0.745835 HT minus 1. Okay, we have these numbers. So as I mentioned before, if you want to check the volatility, you have to add like alpha and beta. So you gain the how high is the volatility. See, this is the alpha and beta, right? So if you see the GARC 1, it's the same like GARC PQ, or you want to measure also GARC alpha beta. Okay, So it's although it has many symbols, but the meaning is the same. So we want to check the volatility. If I add this one, it's around like 0.21 plus 0.745. So the result is 0.955. So we have a volatility because it is approaching to 1. You see the number is 0.1, 0.99 or 0.98 around that one. So for my experience, it's not very often they have numbers more than 1. Mostly it's approaching to 1, either 0.9998 or 0.99991. So it's not directly more than 1, but it's always approaching to 1. This condition showing that it is high volatile. Okay, so far, any questions? Not yet. Okay, still drawing. So after this, we go to the EVIEWS again. So I'm going to show the forecast. From here, let me show you the forecast for ARCH model first. We go to estimate. So we go to ARCH-1 first. And then go to forecast. We use a dynamic forecast because usually dynamic forecast is they measure on the condition from the past and the present. For static forecast, only the present to predict what will happen in the future. So we start from the dynamic. Okay, so what is the straight line meaning? So this is a constant. So our prediction, this is the condition for the forecast if using data from 2000 to 2021. So the forecast will be that if you're invest in this product in Maybank, so the forecast for the condition of volatilities will be similar with this kind of period. So showing that it's the same. So the volatility will be the same. It's not very changed quickly, or is this is a forecast. Mostly the forecast is not 100% correct, right? So we don't know what will happen in the future. Okay, and only the forecast, probably like 50% correct, or maybe 60% correct. So we only analyze on the data that we have. So the condition, if we can see the futures based on this return of the Maybank, we can see that it is the same condition that will happen in the futures by looking at this one. So the volatility is the same, and it's not very changed quickly. So if you type of like safe person to invest, or you want to invest something that makes you have a low risk, so this one is recommended if you want to invest in Maybank equity price. So if you're type of that kind of investors, so this equity is recommended for you. Maybe you're not focusing on the stock market all the time, so you want to save your money, or maybe you want to invest in a stock that doesn't gain a lot of risk, but at least you have return, but you don't have to face with a lot of risk. So you already know how's the condition for the stock. So this is recommended.
Doctor?
Yes.
Sorry. This data, the one that we use 2000 to 2021 is 12 years data, right?
Weekly data.
12 years weekly data. So the forecast that we have here, is it for another 12 years weekly data as well?
It's not mentioned as 12 years also, but we just a forecast showing that the condition in the future. So we cannot predict on whether it's like 12 years or 10 years or 20 years. So it's just a forecast. So the
So is
condition
forecast for future, is it for short term or for long term?
dynamic is for the long term.
Long term.
Yes.
Okay, but we cannot specify or detail out for it valid for how many years?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me predict on the clear one. So forecast static. Okay, this is almost the same. So this is our volatility that we have showed before. So based on this prediction, it's also constant. The blue one, you focus on the blue one. So the forecast will be showing that the volatility for the future is more or less the same with the current volatilities. So if, yeah, as I mentioned before, if you are more to safe investors, you can invest in this stock. So this is the condition. So if there's a shock in here, so it's still stable and constant and still the same for the static one. And we go to the ARCH and GARCH. Okay, since ARCH and GARCH is adjusted, it is extended. So we see for this one. Okay, let's do forecast. A dynamic first. Okay, yes, it's the same one. So it's constant for the dynamic one. So this is for analysis for the forecasting. We don't know whether this forecast the same for 20 years or 10 years. It's all just analysis. So because we cannot predict the futures, maybe we can measure how many risks that we're going to accept, but we cannot know in which year or in which time there's a shock in our stock. So we never know, but this is only like for analysis. Okay, this is still constant. So in the future, they will have the same condition for the volatility for our forecast. And we go forecast on the static. Let me remove the clear drawing first. Okay, so the difference between the static and dynamic is the static that will show you in details in the volatilities condition and the condition for the volatilities in the futures. So as I see that it's the same with the dynamic, it's still static or it's still constant. They're showing that in the futures, the condition will remain the same for the analysis. So we cannot predict it correctly 100%, but we can see it maybe like 50%, 60% that the volatilities is remain the same for this stock. Okay. Okay, done for forecast. Any questions so far? No? Okay, we still have time. So I can show you on the website how we access on the Yahoo Finance.
Doctor, the static model we don't have to do.
You disconnected. Can you repeat?
Sorry, the static test.
The static one, huh?
No need to do.
Oh, already,
No,
right?
The static one. I
Yeah.
thought just now is already.
Oh, already, okay, let me repeat, maybe.
Which graph?
Oh, wait. The static with the volatilities one.
Okay, I got it. So that one is the static result.
Okay.
Thank you,
Maybe
Doctor.
maybe I can transfer it to the Excel. So if you plan to do it again after the class, you can check whether your regression is correct or not. Mm. Okay. Okay. I'm transfer this to the Excel, so I will give it to you after the class, so you can check on your answers. Okay. Forecast, dynamic. Okay, here we go. This is the dynamic. And then I'll show you again. This is the static. Okay, dynamic in here. And static. So the difference with static and dynamic, static, they will show the volatility in their current data. For the dynamic, they just show you how's the condition. Okay. And let me estimate again on the ARC. So ARC is only on the variance, but we can know that the condition on the variance itself. Okay, this is, we go to forecast, the dynamic. Dynamic usually only more dominant on the blue line. See, the condition is the same for the ARC. And we go to the static. Okay, here's the static. Usually the static they provide is volatility. Okay, I already put this result in the Excel, so you check other sheet. I will send it after the class along with the other document. Any question again? So we finish doing the forecast, ARC and GARC model, static and dynamic forecast, and what I can emphasize on these ARC and GARC models, although it looks simple, but you have to know whether your data is qualified to do the ARC models or not. So you have to check the heteroscedasticity and serial correlation. Because if you have a serial correlation in your data, showing that your data is not reliable for the ARC and GARC model. And also, if you don't have hetero, or maybe you don't have a significant, or maybe usually I see this condition happen before in other data. Not all data is good. I mean, some of the equity stock prices, they don't have the significant values for this one. See, maybe some of the data I saw it, they have a higher, the p-values is bigger than critical values. So if this condition, this is the mean equation, is not significant, so you cannot predict your variance. Although maybe this one is p-values is less, is significant, but the mean values is not significant. So you cannot use these models, or you cannot use the data. You have to change the data, or maybe you have to change other equity stocks or choose other Islamic stocks. Because the one thing you have to do is check your data first, And then you decide on the theory, and data is number one. Check your data and then your theory. If you plan to do a research, and then after this, your objective or issues. Then you can start making your introduction. This is how it goes. So maybe currently you're doing thesis or dissertation or a research paper. If you're doing quantitative, you have to check your data first. Because if you start doing the intro first, somehow maybe the data is not significant. It gives you troubles on your result. So you have to work more to see the result if it's not significant. So the main thing is to do is the data first, theory, issues, introduction, and the result. Then you can go smoothly if I can recommend. So you have to check any kind of theory and also the method. Check the method, which one is suitable. So if you're doing quantitative, whether it is primary or maybe secondary is safer for you, because if it's primary, you have to do questionnaire, right? So you have to do pilot. It takes time and more costly. But if you're doing secondary, if the data is not significant, you can change other data. So it's less cost compared to primary. So that's how it goes. If you want to have a smooth research. Okay, let's go to, so this one already given. Let's go to the drawings. And same also goes to, this is the ARC, right? This is the ARC model. ARC and GARC. So this is the result. Yes. So this is the ARC model. Okay, I put this one on the GARC. So later, if you want to do the exercise again, or maybe you want to check how's the tools going on, you can go on with this one. Okay. I think there's a problem with this one. What's not available? Okay, let me check again this one. Allah Akbar. Okay, let's check again on the part. Somehow there's a problem. Estimate equation. You can see this slide, right? Stop. Okay, let me show the EVIEWS again. So this is a repetition. So it's a quick estimate equation. Okay, this is correct one, because when I cut and paste this one in the Excel, somehow it's not available. There's some missing values on this one. Okay, this one is correct. Okay, this is one is correct. Okay, any questions so far? So far, so good. So next, I will show you how to get the data in the Yahoo Finance. Okay, let me show you again the answers on this one. Okay, you can see the Excel. Okay, you can see the Excel right now, right? Okay, this is I put the result. The GARCH model, you have the variance equation and the mean equation. So this is the ARCH and this is the GARCH. So you combine this, you get the numbers of volatilities, frequencies. So usually approaching to 1, usually 0.99 or 95. And for the dynamic forecasting, dynamic forecast, the dynamic usually is a straight line. Not usually, but if the result is like this, showing that it is a constant one. So this is a straight line showing that the volatility in the futures will be the same as the volatilities in the current data for the dynamic one. And also for the static, usually they provide this data, condition volatility, and compare it with the forecast one. So it's still constant. So the dynamic and the static showing that the forecast is constant, showing that the volatilities in the futures using this data is remain the same. So let's see what happens if we are using a different data. Maybe we can make it smaller as long as it is in the time period. So we can see if you're using, or maybe we make it small, like maybe we change this one. We can see how is the prediction. Okay, so we can change this one based on our period, yeah. So don't reduce it, but and not like different data, not for 1999 because we don't have this one. Make sure like 2010. Yeah, we're using this for forecasting. What about if you're using samples that has smaller values to forecast? Okay, it's remain the same because this is a dynamic one. Okay, dynamic one. Yes, remain the same. Still constant. So the volatility for our future volatilities remain constant. If using data that 2010. Oh. Okay, 2010. Okay, remain constant to 2010 until 2021. So the type of data for this one, the condition for the forecast is remain the same. The volatility is still constant, showing that the volatility in the futures is the same with the current data we're using this one. Okay, let's see how is it in the static one. Static model usually they compared with the volatilities in the current data. Okay, still constant also. Okay, if you get like confused or maybe why is it always constant, maybe you can try other data. There's many type of data, but you have to check how's the condition. Is it significant? Does it have a hetero? because this forecast should be applied in your last step, because you already confirmed that it is suitable for the ARC models and it has the hetero and it doesn't contain serial correlation. So we have to go to that step before to predict the forecast. Maybe you're not sure that is this the forecast correct or not? Why is it always constant? Because you want something different. So maybe you can check other data, but you have to go through the process again. You have to check heteroscedasticity, serial correlation, is it the model suitable for ARCH and GARCH? That's so on. Okay, any questions? No? Okay. So just play around with the data. Okay, I will show you how we get the data from Yahoo Finance. Okay. So we get the Yahoo Finance. Just click on this one. If you want to check whether Yahoo Finance is reliable or not, maybe you can check on statistics in their website. Maybe you can go to Bursa Malaysia to check on the other data. I will go to maybe the INB. We can check for other INB banks. INB Malaysia. Not all of the data is open source. If I check, usually they have all these ones, INB banks. You can go to portfolio. You have choices. Whether is it whether is it Thailand or INB Malaysia or INB Indonesia, or you want to check for other S&P Shariah Index, you can check it. Either is it reliable or not. So we go to this one. Sorry. Here we go. So I have this one, S&P 500 Shariah Index. It doesn't mention which country. Not all of the stock index is provided here in Yahoo Finance. So if it's showing this one, we're sorry we're not able to find the topic for this one, showing that they're not providing a free access for the stock index. They only provide the current one. Oh, they have, but not, yeah, only for daily one, not for the past history data. They only for one today, and we're not showing it. Another one. Sorry if the internet connection. So you see the time period is changing, but they didn't show it the date for the past one, meaning that the Yahoo Finance cannot provide this access. So if you don't have any options, you have to find other data, but you have other option. You can go to Bloomberg if your company or your campus provide the Bloomberg or data stream. But you can have other access for data. Maybe you can go to Genting, right? Genting Singapore or Genting Malaysia. Is there free access for this one? We have Genting, Berhad, Kuala Lumpur. Okay, we go to your historical data. Can we access this one? We can access this one. Okay. See, if you see there is a column and row showing that the past data. So this one is open access. So you can access this one. You can choose what kind of analysis you plan to see in this linting. Maybe you want to see how's the forecast and how's the features, or maybe the company profile, or anything else. So the main thing is that you have to check whether the data is available or not. So you can decide the topic later on. So if you already set the topic but you cannot find the data, just waste the time. So it's going to be hard for you. So time period, you can change in this one. Go this one. And then just change this August. Maybe you want to go how many years they have. Maybe 2010. Go to August and done. It's already changed. And then go done. And historical prices, you can choose whether you want to see dividend only, stock split, or capital gain. Choose which one do you want. And daily, they have weekly and monthly. If you want to have more frequency data, you can choose daily or weekly. It's up to you. But the risk for daily is you have to check your software and you have to adjust it, because sometimes 1 week can consist of 3 data, 3 stock prices, or 4 or 5. So usually has to change and go apply. See, we see the changes from 2010 sampai 2021. See, they provide open access for the data and then loading more. And go to download. Where's the download? Okay, some different things. Okay, if you're also currently searching for other data, yes, any questions? Yes. Okay. Okay, you go straight to this one and then download. And then you get the data. Okay. For participant who has other things to do and they cannot proceed until end of the class, it's okay. I will email you the link recording and PowerPoint and also the data for you to do the exercise later on. And
Doctor, the Excel as well, right? The result?
yes, disconnected.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sister.
You will email us the Excel template, which shows the result as well, right?
Sorry?
The Excel,
Can
the
you
Excel.
repeat?
The result from the EVIEWS in Excel template.
Sorry. Disconnected. Something wrong? Can you, maybe you can type in the chat box. Okay, sister, are you still there? Can you type in the chat box? Suddenly your voice breaks. Okay. Yes, the EVIEWS result will be emailed also. Okay. Don't worry. Okay. Let us show you how we got. Okay, this is the data that we download before. This is the Genting stock price. So make sure you take the adjusted close price, because this one already adjusted with the company. Although it looks smaller than the close price, but this is already fixed, so you can use this for your research. Okay. So you can see that it began from the start 23rd August until 2021. So as I see it, as I showed it before, so you cannot access any kind of data that you want. So not of all the data can be accessed in Yahoo Finance. So if you have a choice, you can go to Bloomberg or DataStream if you want to access like the data that you want, like FTSE or maybe S&P, Dow Jones. This is a very high quality data because they didn't provide it in Yahoo for free. So you have to subscribe for the Bloomberg, or maybe you can ask someone who is working there to access it for you. So most of the data in Yahoo Finance, as I see before in the research paper, some of the researchers, they get access from the Yahoo Finance, so it's reliable. Okay, you can check if you want to find the oil market in Yahoo Finance. You can check any kind of data. You see, they have a crude oil, right? Crude oil, gold. So if I show it, okay, prices. So you can see the website, right? They have a crude oil, NASDAQ, S&P, but you have to check whether they provide past data or not. They have a gold, or maybe you want to check the gold prices and predict how's the volatility in the future, or maybe you are investors, new investors, you want to see how's the condition for gold. Do you have a crude oil? But do they have a past data? Okay, because with this current condition, maybe some of the university is closed and they don't allow you to go enter, maybe to access library for DataStream or Bloomberg. So the easy way to go is going to the website and go to Yahoo Finance, and you can check whether the data that you need is available or not. So far they provide past data for crude oil. So you can check again what kind of company you plan to do research on this one. Okay, we still have 30 minutes to go. If there's no questions, so maybe I can end this early because some of you already left because you have things to do. Okay. Okay. Anything? Okay. No more questions? Okay, let me end this one. And turn on my camera. Okay, for you who's still in here, thank you very much for participating. I hope what I have shared today benefit for you if you're doing research, or maybe you are new investors and you plan to invest in something and you want to have a new knowledge on this, so you can predict whether whether the stock that you invest is reliable or give you a good return. So you can use this knowledge to do the analysis, or maybe you can start a new papers, or maybe making a new papers regarding to the stock exchange or stock index. So all the best for you. So I will send you the document that you need, like the Excel, the results, and also the e-certificate, and also the PowerPoint with the notes, with the scratch on this one. And anything else that you need, just check on the Yahoo Finance, or recording also. The link of recording, yes, Yahoo. Sorry, YouTube. Yes, I will share it to you. Okay, so far that we have conveyed today. Okay, there's a recommended input from Sister Nurrachmi. In the future, maybe you can teach us how managing missing data. You mean interpolation? Sister Nurrachmi?
Can you hear me?
Yes, is it like interpolation?
No, the secondary data, but some company on certain years, we can't find the data. If we search it from the annual report, let's say we don't go for Bloomberg because it's not public listed. So some annual report, previously it is manual previous report, right? The physical previous report. So if we don't have, let's say 1 year, but we have another 9 years or 11 years, and we want to predict for the complete until the recent one, but we don't have 1 year data. So how to do it? How to manage? I know that we can do that, but I'm not sure how we can.
Okay. If there's a missing data in the middle, you see, so like for example, the year is, let me show you on the Excel, maybe this one. Okay, you can see this one. For example, if it's in EVIEWS, if there's a missing data on this one, you can do interpolation. That's only 1 day or 1 week, like this one. So you can do an interpolation on this one. So the EVIEWS will like do the average, the machine like do all the calculation, and they will fill this one with values that near to these values. For example, if it's 948, maybe this one like be 9.4, usually like this. So they will put the average. But if you're doing thesis on this one and you plan to do the interpolation, you have to consult with your supervisor or your lecturers. Is it allowed or not? Because interpolation, like we can call it as like manipulation of data. So you have to ask permission first. But if you don't have any choices, you can do it. But if you have a choices, it's better to use other data which is complete, so it's safer for you. Because if you're using this interpolation, so meaning that you're doing a manipulation on the data. If it's only one, you can maybe it's safer for you to do the interpolation. Maybe only one missing data, like only 1 year or maybe like 2 years is quite safe, but you have to consult. But if you have like 5 years missing data, probably it will impact on your results. Yeah, EVIEWS software. Okay, let me show you while we're here. So maybe go to interpolation. Oh, can you see? Interpolate. See, linear output series, but there should be like missing data on this one. Yeah, go to proc, interpolate, but software for EVIEWS only interpolate in the middle. If you have missing data at the end, EVIEWS cannot predict. Usually you have to use theta. Okay, so what I showed like this, what I mean if you have missing data in here, like this one, if you cannot do the average on this one, you have to do the extrapolate, because this is outside your data. You have to use data on this one. That's how you complete your data. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Okay. Thank you very much again. Say, okay, I will end this. I will close everything. Okay. 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 Thank you very much. I hope what I have shared is beneficial for you in the future, for your maybe if you're currently working in your career or in your academic progress, and also in your research if you're currently still studying in university. We hope we can see again virtually in another workshop. Inshallah, if I have other ideas, I can convey my knowledge. And I will end this with Alhamdulillah and doa kafaratul majlis. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.